Hi, my name is Kenneth Kiper. I'm a graduate at Bellevue University, and this is an oral defense for my paper for the class, Deterring the Enemy, Case Studies in Strategic Deterrence. The title of my paper is Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Nuclear or Cyber Deterrence. The main question that this paper sought to answer is whether United States deterrence policy should focus more on the DPRK nuclear or DPRK cyber attack threat. I felt it was important to research this topic because while both DPRK nuclear and cyber threats are evolving, there are finite United States resources to deter and defend against those threats. And while current policies take both threats into consideration, I believed that cyber is not taken as seriously as it should be. My paper first attempts to provide a synopsis of the evolution of deterrence practices, and then examines the nuclear and cyber threat of North Korea. After this, the paper discusses current U.S. friendly and adversary policies, alternative policies around the world, and the effectiveness of those policies in general. And lastly, the paper synthesizes all of this information and offers recommendations for policymakers to consider going forward. The resources I use to formulate this paper derive mostly from academic journals. However, I also use newspaper articles, legislative documents, and other state security governing documents. Through my research, I found compelling arguments that support deterrent strategies for both the DPRK nuclear and their cyber threat. While assessing North Korea's nuclear capabilities, I found that the DPRK has already successfully tested the launching of submarine-launched ballistic missiles and missiles capable of overcoming ballistic missile defense systems. I also found that while the DPRK proclaims that they have successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching U.S. shores, other sources witnessed the reentry vehicle failing during testing, which is an essential component of a functioning ICBM. Current research indicates that North Korea has the capability of successfully striking South Korea and Japan, but is unable to reach either continental or non-continental United States. For cyber, research indicates that the DPRK started utilizing cyber exploitative techniques sometime between 1998 and 2009. Some scholars assess that North Korea is a mid-level threat compared to other nations in the realm of cyber. However, United States Forces Korea Commander believes that the DPRK is the world's most capable cyber threat. While the clandestine nature of cyber makes it difficult to attribute blame, North Korea has been accused of many cyber-related attacks over the years that sources such as the FBI and the Director of National Intelligence have confirmed. In my policy appraisal, I found that current U.S. national security strategy has more of a nuclear focus than cyber regarding the DPRK. However, I also found that the Department of Defense and Joint Chiefs of Staff policies allow for military operations to deter cyber attacks not only through defensive measures, but also offensive under United States Code Title 10 authority. China's policy encourages the denuclearization of North Korea, but they are not willing to enforce sanctions that could result in DPRK economic stability. Their national security strategy focuses more on defending against soft security threats, such as threats to cyberspace. And while most scholars believe that the DPRK will not attack China with nuclear weapons, China has already experienced collateral damage in a North Korean cyber attack. From my research, I found that South Korea's deterrence strategy had been to build more weapons and had a heavy reliance on USFK support. South Korea also appears vulnerable in the cyber realm, mostly due to how globally connected they are. In the paper, it highlights research that indicates that Iran, China, and Russia view cybersecurity as a major threat. Like the United States, their policy allows them to incorporate offensive cyber weapons to deter attacks as well. Based on my research, my recommendation is to educate youth in cyber disciplines to improve national network security, work with allied nations to create a unified cyber strategy, and include cyber attacks as a defensive option in the national security strategy. Cyber tools will not eliminate the need of DPRK nuclear deterrence, but I argue that in the 21st century, cyber deterrence may need more attention of current leaders and policymakers in order to better protect our country.